For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never ever be surprised by what happens in politics. For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
I'd like to report that everything is great in St. Lucia, and there isn't any need for us to call on the authorities to attend to any particular issue. People are getting their passports. Inflation is on the decline. Crime is not an issue. We're just in paradise. Anyway, welcome to another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube as well as on Facebook. In a bit, your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. And Kimani will be going through some of your comments in the chat room. Now, I know that you're realistic and you're into the slice of life experience. You know exactly what is happening in this country, and you grapple with those problems on a daily basis. So, you know, it's just pulling your legs. Things are really not okay in this country, and we are doing everything that is possible from the perspective of NewsSpin to highlight those issues and hope somehow the authorities will take note, will be embarrassed, and therefore will work towards improving the lives of St. Lucians. That is what we aim to do primarily on this program. July the 1st, how many of you are looking forward to that date? And that is when coming into effect will be the 2.5% health and security levy. But just about 10 days before this date arrives, we are yet to find out from the authorities what are the items which will attract this levy, 2.5%. And as the managers of households, you know that you have to prepare for extra charges because a household is a microcosm of what happens nationally. Items will increase. What are those items that will fetch the 2.5% levy? You don't know. And it doesn't appear that the authorities are eager to let you in on this secret. Why should you, weeks before the imposition of this levy or implementation of this levy, announce it, yes, but still you are tardy? Not as in Thaddeus Antoine, not as in T-A-D-D-Y, but you are tardy in T-A-R-D-Y in revealing to the St. Lucian public those items that will attract that increase. And thus far, the NGO community, we're not hearing anything from the NGO community that will include a National Consumers Association calling on the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, calling on the Consumer Affairs Minister to share that bit of information with us. A few months ago, you just knew you had to implement or impose this levy on the people of St. Lucia, but you're still grappling, you're still trying to decide which items will fetch that 2.5% levy. And for me, that is a serious injustice. That is taking the people for granted. That is giving the impression that people have excess cash, excess funds that they could dip their hands into and offset that added burden that they would have to go through. And that is certainly not being kind to the people of this country. But more than that, the people of this country, they are resigned to just calling NewsSpin, commenting in the chat room, and not airing their grievances in other ways. Not basically taking their concerns directly to their employees. Not the employers, the employees, because every day we hear parliamentarians, particularly those on the side of the government who are ministers, say, we are there to represent you, we are putting you first, and therefore we are answerable to you. But if you do not pose questions to your employees, if you do not ask questions of them, if you do not hold them to a high standard, if you don't ask them to account, provide you with report cards and so on, what do you think will happen? They will just do as they please. And you cannot blame them. You really ought not to blame them. You have to blame yourself. Because by now, and I like to say that, if it were Barbados, Jamaica, or Trinidad, the finance minister, those in authority, would have come out with a list, whether it has to be gazetted, whether it has to be presented before the island's parliament, and say to the people of those respective countries, we know that you will be impacted, and this is how you are going to be affected. At least people are given the opportunity to mull over certain decisions that they would have to take. Right now, we are in the dark on the 20th of June with this 2.5% levy pending, scheduled to come into effect on July the 1st. As to the specifics, what you know as citizens of this country is for sure, you will be facing this increase on that particular date, but you don't know the items. So you cannot make any kind of arrangements, any level of preparedness. I mean, in the case of the hurricane season, at least we know it runs between June and November. You can prepare. But in the case of this levy, the government of St. Lucia is saying, We don't owe you an explanation just yet. Wait, 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 and in time, we'll be providing you with information, critical information that will be affecting you negatively. Talking about negative information. You would recall that there was this, not a press release, but a letter sent to reporters and suggesting that they do not identify the location of the scene of a crime, a homicide. There's no need to do that because of the implication, considering that this is an area that's normally frequented by visitors to our shores, mostly visitors to our shores. We do not want to attach any negative label or connotation to that particular establishment. And I read the request, the letter in its entirety. Certain people took offense to that. And we've had an explanation from the Information and Broadcasting Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, saying, well, as reporters, you can report whatever you want, as long as it is factual. But here comes a sleight of hand. But could very much well understand the position that was taken by the Tourism Authority in saying that this is how St. Lucia can be impacted. This is how that business establishment can be impacted. Can we take it a step further and say, if you have a homicide occurring in any part of St. Lucia, you might as well say, don't report it. Do not report it. Instead of saying, it occurred in Dennery, in Anstleray, Canaries, VA4, it occurred in Marcia, in Leclerc, etc. Just do not report it. Might as well instruct reporters to engage in that kind of practice. Because visitors, prospective visitors to a destination, they don't care that a crime has occurred in a particular area that's frequented by visitors, by tourists. They want to understand what is the crime situation in the country. So if you have, within the space of a fortnight, 11 homicides occurring in V4 South, people are not going to say, well, I'll visit St. Lucia, but I'm likely to stay in the north because the crime is concentrated in V4. No, they'll just tell you St. Lucia. Period. That is the label that is attached, not to particular areas, but to the country. How many people in St. Lucia, if they had not made certain investments, if they do not have this innate love for their country because of the increase in criminal activity of the last several years, would have decided to uproot themselves and their family and head to another country? Some people don't have a choice. They won't do that. Other people decide that they want to remain in St. Lucia because they don't have a choice, but they will not frequent certain areas. But I think the majority of people, out of frustration, would have decided to pack up and leave. And if you speak to a number of young people, they tell you, they quip and they tell you, maybe that's why we can't get our passports. They would just pack up and leave if they had the opportunity to do so. So I think the government of St. Lucia has to be preoccupied not only with crime or homicide occurring in a particular area that's frequented by visitors, but crime in St. Lucia in particular, irrespective. Why in a small country like ours, 2x4 country, we find ourselves saying to visitors or instructing visitors not to travel to certain parts of the island? You shouldn't venture into that particular area. We don't identify those areas. And sometimes the visitors are very stubborn. They still venture into those areas. Because for them, the picture that's being painted is that St. Lucia is a paradise. Now, we are not saying that things have gotten so out of control that we shouldn't have visitors come into our shores. I'm just saying that over the last several years, and even now, you do not get the impression that crime is a serious problem in our country. When you speak to certain individuals, certain people, and that is one that is very scary. That has caused so many people in this country to be complacent. We have reached a point where we just see crime as a way of life in our country. But back to the Information Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, addressing that particular issue with regard to the letter that was sent to some reporters seeking their cooperation, advising them on how they should write their story pertaining to a certain incident which occurred in the north of the island.
I read it like everybody else, and I reflected on it. If there was a concern that, look, this is a prime tourism area, spot, and the impression been given because of the specificity of the location of where it happened may give the impression that the tourism spot is not safe. And it was an appeal to say, look, you're free to say the general area in which it happened, but to locate that particular area, maybe one should take consideration of the bigger picture and maybe not do so, because we know the effect it can have on St. Lucia.
Anywhere it happens in St. Lucia, it will have an effect on the entire country. So, it happens in a particular area, don't say it happens there, just say the general area, Rotney Bay, Gros Delay, that's where it happened. Things sometimes you just allow things to go on unaddressed because we are certainly doing more harm than good when we speak on those things. Because I could just imagine Information Minister Dominic Fede making that same statement and the response from Dr. Ernest Hilaire, what that statement would be. But he would say that I can't imagine things, I ought not to imagine things, so let's not do that. But let's just be as frank as possible. This letter should not have been sent to any reporter in this country, advising reporters on how to write a particular story because of where it occurred. If that is the case, when you have a homicide occurring in Marcia, the MP should also send a letter to the various reporters. Say to them, just it happened somewhere by a bridge in Marcia, but don't say exactly where it occurred. Don't say it occurred in Toulouse in a particular area, because you have shops in those areas. You have businesses that are owned by St. Lucians in those areas. I mean, when you have incidents happening in Gara, close to a shop or a bar, you're saying those people are not being impacted as well? How many people would decide not to visit a particular establishment, locally owned establishment, because a homicide occurred there? So many businesses have suffered from that. The big issue is, let us address the crime problem so that it does not impact our country. Whether it involves ensuring that locals can frequent those establishments, or whether it is an establishment that caters mostly to visitors to our shores. In the chat room, Kimani, what is happening? And I extend the invitation to you watching the broadcast as well. You can call at 452-2949. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. Someone says, so we cannot be safe, but the tourists can be. Isn't that the same SLP that said tourism is not that important to SLU? Passing in our eyes.
It's supposed to be pissing.
Pissing. Oh, sorry. Someone says, Tim, this is not my problem. The hypocrisy, depending on which government does what. I am so sick and tired of these recycled products. Gosh, man. Another comment, someone says, Tim, imagine the Minister of Tourism read it like anybody. He had nothing to do with the letter. Makes really think we're stupid. Someone says, Tim, if Dominic hadn't made that statement when he was minister, the hypocrites along with these Labour ministers would have been calling for his head. Someone says, Timothy, St. Lucia is number 6 in crime ratio in the Caribbean. I want to come home, but when I hear a minister talking and saying things like that, it hurts my inside. The news is not good about St. Lucia out there. I, for one, can say that, as I'm always watching and listening to all news about my loving country.
We have a call? Let's take that call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Okay, what was the call? Continue.
Someone says Labour had 2020 vision in opposition. Now they are governing. They are blind and wicked.
I think we have a call now. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you are on the air.
Tim, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, it's a while I give your program a break. Tim, didn't I hear over the past few weeks I've been heard that the the victory rally will be celebrated in Mikut South?
Yes.
And I've heard so many, different comments and whereabouts. I don't believe anybody can tell a government where to celebrate the rally and whatever it is. Let me say this very clear this afternoon. The people of Mikut South welcome the celebration of that victory rally. You know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they will see for the past 5 years what we call true progress. The state of the road that was so bad in that constituency. Now the road from Cashris to Vieux-Fort cannot match it because it is well paved and well marking. Come and see the dairy, so which I know that is where they're going to host the activity. Come and see AstroTurf on the field, lights on the field. Come and see so many roads, the community center in Basha. Come and see pure development for 5 years. It is not those that representing some constituency for 30 to 26 years and they are in a deplorable condition. We welcome, they will see and make sure that they come with their cameras and they took photo to see the work of Alan Michael Shastney for the past 5 years. Come and see true progress in Mikut South. Now let me just move away from that. I just request for them. Make sure we welcome them. We're not going to say rejected. Come. Team, the focus on the island. And look, I heard news where 10 motorcycles was burned in Marigot.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that news is making us look good across the world? Is that making us look good? We're talking about those motorcycles were in the police station itself. Are they?
In the parking lot.
In the parking lot of the station, which is minded or guarded by the police, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Tim, that is fishy, That sounds very fishy. And we heard there was an investigation is taking place.
As usual.
And I would wish to find out the outcome of that investigation, especially in Babuno too, because Babuno has been a place where person have just, every time you see a prisoner there, that person can just come and go at any time they want. We play games with the security of this country and believe it is just nice. When we have there will be an investigation, everybody happy there will be an investigation. Until that will be dragged and until nothing come out of that investigation. And the police will just tell you they will investigate just to let the members of the public remain calm, quiet, and cool as though they are doing something. This is embarrassing for the police. And let me repeat that word. Very, very embarrassing. I mean, we talk about security. Check what took place Vieux-Fort over the past 3 or 4 months, thereabout, where everybody was in arms. People were worried about what will be the fate of that part of the island, And now there is a break there right now. It's a little calm, quiet. But here we have another problem. This time the police supposed to take blame for that. Where were the police when that happened? That's the question I'm asking. Just like in Babuno, who were guarding that prisoner in the cell? I mean, we have so many, like Rick said, we have so many things, that we have. I mean, we just do every day something different happen in St. Lucia. If it's not crime, if it's in government, if it's this, it's just amazing to see how quickly that St. Lucia can just deteriorate. I mean, just a matter of minutes. And you have about 2.5% increase on VAT, making matters worse again. I mean, all of these are problems created by politicians. You know, where other people you put in first right now, are they truly the poor people first? But look, they have to confront that 2.5% right now, make it 15% VAT. And when Alan Chastney had moved 2% in it, oh, there will be a shortfall of revenue. We want to know how he's going to manage. Alan Chastney manage it. Right now, you all have to bring it back to try and get a source of revenue from it to see whether you all can do anything. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much. More of your calls, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. Hello, good afternoon. You are on the air.
Sir Tim.
Good afternoon to you. So Wayne?
Tim, that was a very interesting clip you just played there. The minister said that the release, the directive, or whatever you want to call it, from the tourist authority.
The letter.
Yeah, or whatever.
Letla.
Mm-hmm. The communication from them.
Yeah.
It was dangerous, and if I'm paraphrasing, it was dangerous or counterproductive because it gave the impression that the particular vicinity was unsafe, that somebody had been killed there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gave that a false impression.
Yeah.
What's false about that, Tim?
Nothing.
If a guy got killed there.
That's just semantics, Rick. That's just semantics.
Tim, I want to tell you, you and I owe our readers and listeners history because they don't have the time. That's not their job. And we have to know our history and information because if we are saying we want the country to move forward, we want to positively also affect the minds and attitudes of our people because we have a lot of competition where people are selfishly doing the exact opposite, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a reflection on you. I'm just making that point generally. So for the minister to say we don't want to create the impression that Rodney Bay is unsafe, and that is why reporters who don't know their jobs or who don't care or who are complicit are a danger to the country because the minister got away with saying or suggesting that Rodney Bay is safe. Okay, Rodney Bay has never been any safer than anywhere else, Tim. I don't know if you remember at a particular establishment, a guy walked up from his boat and shot dead another guy in the restaurant. Are you aware of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that happened a few years back. Then we've had another guy the police killed, some escaped guy or somebody who, not so long ago. We've had that. And I'm sure there are others, plus this one that has just happened there. So rather than the minister talking about the safety, all-round safety of the country, he's suggesting instead a modification in how we report incidents of life and death in the country, murders in fact.
Particularly involving visitors or areas that are frequented by visitors.
Well, regular people frequent there, but they tend to, but that's what he said, right?
Yeah.
His reference regarding his concern for the safety had to do with visitors. That is all this. I don't think those things are intended. Nobody would intend those things, but that's very loose talk, and it can create the wrong impression.
Well, Rick, that happens to you when you want to be defensive.
Yeah.
If you want to be straightforward with the people,
instead of taking,
you don't make those errors.
Action,
yeah.
Instead of taking appropriate action, you get defensive, like we have with the lady whose name I can never remember.
Kimberly.
Kimberly,
DeLeo.
and the 14-year-old boy, 17-year-old boy, and all those unresolved crimes, etc.
Arnold.
There's an excuse. The DPP's office, they always an excuse that makes no sense whatsoever. We're waiting for samples to come back from we know where, or all these silly ass excuses, all of them involving people's loss of life. But instead of coming to grips and trying to resolve it, and it's not a today thing, it's a political thing.
And you continue to add the cliche. You continue to add the cliche, Rick. One life lost is one life too many.
Too many, yeah. one life too many. That's the kind of cliches. And there are people, and here's the point, there are people complicit with that, you know. I keep on telling you, those horrible things that happen in our little country, and I stress little, are done with the license of certain people, you know, Timbo. By a lot of people, with their license. I have a bigger one for you coming up. Okay? So the minister actually said, the bigger picture. The bigger picture, is there a bigger picture than a guy was killed in a place where people should feel safe and are not? Is there a bigger picture to that?
No. You can only say that if you are not the victim of that particular crime.
Boy, there's no bigger picture than somebody getting killed there. Tim, you remember the law that was passed to jail us, imprison us, if we reported certain things happening in the country that we could not prove?
361.
In other words, if we are given secret information by conscientious doctors who told us only on condition we didn't mention them. Because we have a lot of citizens in that situation, and especially doctors and so on, that they want to tell us things that we to deal with, but often they would tell us, please don't say it's me. So now the reporter has to balance between lives lost, or saying nothing to protect just to protect the doctor. So a law was actually passed to throw us in jail if we reported that, you know. So these things are not new. The bigger picture then was an entity. That was the bigger picture. That if you wrote anything that somehow interfered with a public entity, that was never explained what that was. Nobody even knew what that was. But the law was they're going to throw us in jail. Thankfully, enough pressure was put that it was pulled. Thankfully for that. But now I have to come to the reporters, Tim. Tim, are you aware, even to a small degree, what led to the infamous leadership struggle in the Labour Party when the castles was smashed up, etc.? Do you know the
what I understand, and I was way too young at the time, but what I understood was that
You were less older.
what I understood is that then Prime Minister Alan Louisi reneged on an agreement that he had with George Odlum, and therefore he had a fallout as a result of this.
In other words, he had an agreement before the elections with George Odlum that he would serve 6 months and hand over to George.
Yeah.
There are letters that George Odlum wrote to Louisi containing that fact. I personally was told by Louisi on the eve of the elections, Rick, and I wrote that in Louisi's time. I've spoken it over and over, because none of the things I've written regarding St. Lucia's politics, the people were dead when I said it. Okay. That there was an arrangement. You will remember, too, that there was also an arrangement that George and his crowd would campaign in a certain area, and Louisi and his crowd and his faction would campaign in another area of the island. That is how bad things were.
Yeah.
I went to Louisi having prepared their manifesto for them to talk about whose picture should be on the cover of the manifesto. Louisi took me to a private room and said, Rick, we are going to win this election. That's whatever the year it was.
79.
79,
yeah.
But we will not keep the government. Those were Louisi's words. I have written that in all my articles in newspapers. I have spoken about this on talk so many times. It's in all my books. But there are also letters from George, from Peter Josie, either to Louis himself or published in places. We had television. I was the one who first broke the story with a well choreographed situation with Victor Fadley, remember him?
Yes.
And Mikey Pilgrim. So I'm calling names, all these names for you, that validate there was a pre-election agreement with Alan Louisi and George Odlum, and from that came all the troubles we had. I cannot believe that Kenny Anthony, on the 28th of February this year, a few weeks ago, when they were dealing with the shift from the Privy Council to CCJ, Kenny Anthony took the opportunity there to say that Louis had come to him at one point after the elections to tell him that they had decided and he had a rough night with the boys, and at the same time he was asking Kenny Anthony to be a stand-in for the Minister of Education. Anyway, Kenny Anthony said he asked Louis what was the bad night about, and Louis told him then that George Odlum and Peter Josie were demanding to know who would be Prime Minister of St. Lucia. And then he said, so you see, it wasn't before the election. And he stopped right there. He stops right there. And that was said in Parliament. And nobody has commented on this obvious twist of history. Totally. And you will, as I said earlier, everything I have written about the period was written when those guys were young and alive and kicking and everything, right? Everybody.
And there wasn't any refutation?
None, not the slightest. In fact, even 2 years ago, I was on a program with NTN, and that came up in the discussion with Peter Josie, etc. We were talking about independence, etc. So, for the very first time, Kenny Anthony, who was there all that time when all this was being written and all the discussions, Kenny Anthony chooses on the 28th of February to offer this earth-shaking information. Only that earth-shaking information is false. And he cannot prove it because, of course, Louis is long dead. So he can say a lot of things about what happened for his own reasons, because who knows why Kenny Anthony would bring that up now. And it is totally wrong and flies in the face of a whole bunch of contrary stuff, not only by Rick Wynn, by almost everybody who wrote on it. So, we owe our listeners and readers the attention such matters deserve, because they hear those things. But Tim, isn't it a kick in the nuts that nobody talked about this piece of history making? Nobody?
Well, I guess people who were listening at the time, maybe the majority of them could not substantiate, could not challenge, and maybe those who knew better couldn't bother because it did not make a difference.
Well, I hope your readers, your listeners disagree with you. I hope your listeners want to know about these things and they can go and listen to it for themselves, because there's more in that tape than that. I plan to write about that. Let them check it out. The 28th of February this year, Kenny Anthony's presentation in the session to change from Privy Council to the CCG. It is there for anybody to go and check for themselves. But I think that kind of history should also form part of NewsSpin's repertoire.
All right, Rick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Still to come on the broadcast, someone wants to tackle the passport issue once and for all. You'll hear from that individual in just a moment. Also, we'll be hearing somebody say that one homicide is one too many, and you've heard this before, but it's a cliche. that we continue to be exposed to. And a whole lot more as we continue to broadcast on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and the NewsSpin Facebook page.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Very early into the hurricane season, we're already being put on notice that there's a tropical storm that is threatening to affect St. Lucia and some countries in the Eastern Caribbean, and that is Tropical Storm Brett. And we are being told that it can become a threat as a hurricane entering the Caribbean on Friday, and it can weaken closer to Jamaica thereafter. And we've been hearing from our Met officials in St. Lucia, definitely calling on St. Lucians residents here to be on the alert and to make the necessary preparations. This has not prevented some people from coming up with a particular meme, okay, on the lighter side, according to the chief medical officer. So we have a chart that is showing the direction, the path of the hurricane and countries that are in its path and so on. But also, somebody has just written and referring there to the deputy DPP, Mr. Brett. And somebody has quipped, after y'all fire Brett from DPP office, y'all crying and he ain't even hit y'all yet. And as the CMO would say, that is on the lighter side. Kimani, what's happening in the chat room?
Someone says, well, on the lighter side, where is Ross Iper these days? Another comment, Tim, do you think the passport issue, the government of the day deliberately stopping St. Lucians from traveling due to hard times, people are migrating in droves, so in a bid to stop brain drain?
I'll put my neck on the block and say, no, I don't think it's deliberate. I think it's incompetence on the part of our authorities.
Another comment, someone says, how comes Lucians accepting the same things they didn't want to accept from Shas, and even worse now? Someone is asking, who is policing the police? Where is the Minister of Defense? Someone says, Kuala, the guys burn the bikes so they won't lose. They won't lose because if you don't have any proof of the bikes, now only that it was destroyed on the grounds of the police station, which means the government now has to pay them. Smart way to clear yourself and make money. Another comment, someone says the government should get tourist guides to advise them on their journey. This government is more making the tourists aware of the crime situation before they come. That's why the numbers are low. Someone says, so hide the Papi show in St. Lucia, nothing to see here. Another comment, Tim, you know, Lucians weren't accepting anything under Shas, but not with PJP and the SLP government. All Lucians are waiting with their mouths closed and nothing to say. Imagine a major tax coming and nobody knows how it will affect the citizens on a whole. Nothing to say. Nothing. Another comment, Tim, why are we hiding news of violence in Rodney Bay but blasting Viewfort constantly? How can Cicero have carnival but Viewfort has been completely ostracized this carnival season? Someone says, Visitors don't know what go on here in St. Lucia. Petty criminals and revenge, violence, necromancy. Another comment. Someone says, Tim, do you want me to go and look for Joachim to tell him to do his job? Let's see. Someone says this government has no respect for its citizens because who will respect someone who believes their lies? Wow, we love when Rick calls because we get historical context for some of the things currently happening in the country. Of course, when it exposes the lies of these politicians, it's a bonus. That's it in the chat room.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's take a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Miss Nancy Charles, good afternoon to you, ma'am.
Hi, good Timothy. How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm good, and good afternoon to Kimani.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Timothy, I listened to one of the clips that you played of Ernest Hille. I hope it's on your news that I heard it just this afternoon. But the minister was speaking with reference to the 2.5 levy and the fact that constituents continue to come to his office looking for support.
No, we did not play that. We did not play that clip, eh?
But okay, I think I heard it on another
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else this afternoon on the news. And I just thought, Timothy, perhaps that we could ask St. Lucians a few questions and maybe even remind them or open their eyes to some of the facts with reference to the 2.5 levy. Timothy, are you aware that no money that is not budgeted in the estimates that has not been approved in Parliament in this estimate can be spent?
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Yes.
So then it means that if there was no money allocated under a particular ministry for a particular purpose, and it's not in the estimates, then you cannot spend that money because it was never budgeted, correct?
Yeah.
So the government indicated that they would be implementing a 2.5, they call it a health
and security
levy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Prime Minister in his statement indicated that they would be estimating to collect $33 million from that levy. Am I right so far?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I want St. Lucians to explain to me, how is it possible that there will be a 2.5 levy specific to health and security, but when you look at the budget, Timothy, and the estimate, and that is where perhaps I will take Rick's phrase of pissing in your eye and calling it rain. How is it possible that under health, the budget for 2022-2023 was $183 million, correct? That's what's in the budget, in the estimate. And the budget for this financial year, where the levy will be applied, is $173 million. Is that a reduction or is that an increase, Timothy?
Yeah, can you repeat?
Last year's budget, 2022, was $183 million.
That's for what area?
For health.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at health first.
Yeah.
This year's budget is $173 million.
Yeah, that's a reduction.
That's a reduction.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it that the government continues to say to the people that you are implementing a 2.5 levy, and somebody can correct me, somebody from the Ministry of Finance, even the Prime Minister, whoever can call and correct me, but this is what I have seen in the budget. That is the Bible. That is where they're going to spend the money. If you say that people are distressed, Timothy, we need more money to help. And I heard Ernest Hille and I was like, what rubbish is this? When you are saying that people are coming to you, we need help in health. People have a lot of health issues, etc., and we need more money. So we're going to put the levy, but yet still you have allocated $10 million less under the Ministry of Health. You didn't increase it. So where is that $33 million going to go, Timothy?
Well,
then you look at home
so maybe that's why the government decided to implement this 2.5% levy. Maybe the $30 million, 15 might go to health and 15 to security.
But then you cannot, he would not have been able to, if the levy is going to be applicable this financial year, Timothy, it would have had to be budgeted for.
Yeah.
So you would have had to show it in the budget that you are increasing the budget by 15 million or 20 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you did not increase the budget. And that is my issue. You did not increase the budget. The budget has been reduced by 10 million, but yet still you're saying to St. Lucian, July of this year, 1st of July, I will be putting that 2.5 levy, and I am hoping to collect $33 million to go towards health. Where in health will you spend it? And that is why I asked you the question. If something is not budgeted for, if it is not allocated in this budget, it cannot be spent. And so that $33 million that is supposedly and allegedly going to be collected on behalf of our health, it's not there, and that's a lie. That is definitely a big lie to the people of St. Lucia, and I think the Prime Minister, who's the Minister of Finance, if he can count, because I don't know if it's 3 words or 4 words or how many words I'm speaking there, but if he can count, Timothy, he needs to come and tell St. Lucians where and how this $33 million will be spent. Because under Home Affairs, I looked at Home Affairs as well, the allocation for last year was $120 million. The allocation this year is $129 million. And so there is an increase of $9 million. And I said, okay, perhaps that $9 million is going to be spent security. Why? So I went into the budget, and on page 577B, to look at where that $9 million extra is going to be spent. Let me tell you what is being spent on, Timothy. $7 million is going to be spent to repair Bordelais. $1.8 million will be spent to repair police stations, and I suppose Viewport is going to take a big chunk of that because there's a huge project going on the Viewport. And the balance of 400,000 and 300,000 will be going to traffic management project and the fire headquarters, etc. So there's no money in terms of that $9 million or from that $33 million that is allocated actually to the police to help them in terms of curbing crime, in terms of beefing up security in this country, etc., etc. So for me, Timothy, it really, really is. I don't even know how to explain it. And people are all over the place like, oh, we need more money. Yes, we need more money, but we need to know how and where you're going to spend the money. Don't tell us you're collecting the money for health and security, but your budget, Timothy, the documents that says this is where you're going to spend the money cannot account for it. And I wonder, reporters on Monday, perhaps, Timothy, maybe your DBS News reporters, when they go to cabinet briefing, to ask the Prime Minister for an explanation on this $33 million or the 2.5 levy. Because my sources told me initially, and I'm saying that's my sources, that the 2.5 was always to be accounted as a VAT. The 2.5 was supposed to be an increase in VAT. And because after they had made that policy decision, put everything in terms of how they're going to collect the money, then there was a lot of back channeling and persons were saying, you can't do that, bring back the VAT, etc. And so it was now termed, quote unquote, a 2.5 levy. Do you know, well, as you reported, up to a day like today, nobody can tell us when the levy is going to be implemented.
No. We know when it's going to be implemented, July the 1st.
It's supposed to be 1st of July,
Mhm.
but we don't know what items are going to be impacted. We know he said, well, non-grocery items. Nobody has gotten a list of what the items are going to be. Nobody knows and understands how it's going to work. So I want to understand at what point in time between now and the 1st of July we will have sufficient time to educate the public of St. Lucia on that 2.5 levy. But for me, my major concern is I don't think that the government should collect this levy until the government can say to us clearly, this $33 million that you intend to collect, where is it going to be spent? Because clearly, when you look at Home Affairs and you look at health in the budget, there's no extra money allocated for those two departments.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for your contribution. WhatsApp message. Somebody says there, you remember when the killings were happening in VF4? Reports from the media indicated that the killings were happening within close proximity to the international airport, where all the major international airlines, American, JetBlue, Delta, Air Canada, British Airways, and Virgin Atlantic. Why didn't a press release like that come out, and why didn't the broadcast minister or information minister say anything about these reports? Isn't the international airport where the majority of St. Lucia stay-over visitors come through to stay in the same area that Dr. Hilaire and the Tourism Authority are saying that the media should not mention? Is he saying that the area around the marina is not as safe as the marina when he asked the media to indicate that a crime happened in the vicinity of the marina? This is a travesty, and I'm not sure Dr. Hilaire and them think about what they say and the implications of their words. Yet I've not heard anything from the people who live and operate businesses in the Rodney Bay area. All right, let me see if I have another WhatsApp message. First of all, the police stations in St. Lucia. Okay, I don't think for security reasons I should be reading this particular WhatsApp message. Let me see any more of your information. Okay, Kimani, what do you have to share with us via the chat room?
Someone says, we St. Lucians in bold, we St. Lucians cannot and will not pay his 2.5 levy nor 20% VAT. Another comment, someone is asking, where did the 2022 budget go? Someone else says, what is going on in St. Lucia? Please play Letla by Educator. Another comment, great observation, but how many people in St. Lucia will be able to analyze a budget? The government is treating us knowing that we are dumb. Someone says, that is the money being given to pregnant mothers, OKEU, etc. Another comment, oil is $71 on the world market and we're still paying $17 per gallon at the pumps. Nonsense. When Chas capped gas at $13.75 per gallon, when gas was $127 per gallon. This is crazy. Another comment, someone says, someone needs to explain to me how this new levy will affect me. Another comment, let us see. They don't know where to put the 2.5% and the date is coming up. That is about it in the chat room.
Thank you so much, Kibani. And I'm sure we'll be returning to you in just a moment for more of your comments in the chat room. We'll be continuing to take your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Still to come, one individual is hoping to successfully tackle the fiasco at the passport office. You are watching NewsSpin on YouTube as well as on our NewsSpin Facebook page and listen to the broadcast on Power 97.9 FM.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
To protect appliances from lightning, rain, and floodwater damage, unplug them, then turn off the main switch. Lightning can produce electrical surges which can damage equipment. Protect your electronics from water damage as well. Make sure you have flashlights, battery-powered radios, and extra fresh batteries available. Be smart, stay safe.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Glow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. switch, and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto part you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaty Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions, catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Chrissy, go on, babe. You will be late for your appointment.
Papa, the water to our pressure. It's running like oil.
Okay, let me fix that once and for all.
I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there.
Europa is the boss for water pumps in St. Lucia. Check them out for any pressure boosting system you may need for both domestic and commercial applications. Best of all, Europa has the best prices, top quality, and after-sales support like no other. The Leo brand of water pumps will solve all your water pressure needs.
I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there.
Contact us today at telephone 452-0763. Pumps also available at Courts.
With immediate effect, one of the issues I would like to deal with to appease St. Lucians, especially as it relates to the immigration issue. I think for me that is a major, that would be a major milestone if we can significantly reduce that level of backlog and that frustration that is being experienced at the immigration department. With immediate effect, one of the issues I would like to deal with to appease St. Lucians, especially as it relates to the immigration issue. I think for me that is a major, that would be a major milestone if we can significantly reduce that level of backlog and that frustration that is being experienced at the Immigration Department.
Quite ambitious on the part of the acting police commissioner, Mr. Ronald Phillip. He wants to successfully tackle that problem at the passport office between now and when his tenure ends on the 31st of July. Good luck to you, sir. 452-2979, 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026 at 716-2026. And let me see if I have any of your messages to go through. Somebody says the Rick and Tim discussing prevalent matters with regard to St. Lucia is truly refreshing and gives off a sense of hope. Let's hope our politicians can come together and discuss matters affecting the country in the same manner. Guys, let's do this for our country. Well, let me say to you, don't hold your breath. It's not about for country with those politicians. It's all about self. It's all about themselves. About focusing on what is impacting them, what is affecting them, what is likely to cause them to lose a general election. Get it through your head. It's all about the politicians, and it has nothing to do very often about the people of the country. All right, we have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin. You are on the air. Hello.
Jim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Jim, where are all the Pan Peters and all the Tricia Lionels and the Quick Hands? You know, I'm not hearing those people at all now. Were they hiding their shame or something?
No, caller. After you have achieved a particular goal, your motive changes.
So what goal they achieved? I want to know. What goal?
I mean, removing the United Workers' Party from office, removing Alan Shastney from office.
So they satisfied what's going on in the country now?
I cannot tell you whether they're satisfied or not. I could tell you maybe they're just too preoccupied with other things to focus on what is happening with the country.
Other things like what? But that's the country. That's where they live. That's where their parents live. That's where their family live. So what other thing they should have right now doing? They cannot say anything.
In other words, the people are just too busy, okay?
They're too busy.
Yeah.
Wow. And our country going down the drain. Boy, I always say, boy, St. Lucia is a real Charlie Chaplin country, boy. You know? Wow. Party access. For money, bringing down our country for money.
I don't know what you're talking about there, but that's your point of view.
But that's how I see it.
You
to get there, they have to get a big position. All right.
Motive change. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message. Good day to you. Since everything happens in St. Lucia is under investigation, can the authorities let us know if they are still investigating the containers that were found at a particular business establishment with marijuana? Still under investigation. Still being probed. 452-2979, WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Kimani, what is in the chat room?
Someone says, Tim Mitt getting demoted next week. Those gaining from this passport saga are now mad at him. Another comment, someone says, we do not want to be appeased, so why pacify us? What an insult. We want solutions, not vacation. Another comment, the same way they overcollected on the gas and what happened? Nothing. They just collecting money to put in their pockets, it seems. Someone says, would really love for Rick to be brought on NewsSpin at least twice monthly. This might help to rearrange the ignorance of some news spinners. Let me see what other comments. Someone says, caller, how can you hear them? It was all about self, what they can get. Another comment, let us see. Someone is saying Trish Lionel is in Taiwan. But that's it in the chat room.
All right, thank you so much. Somebody says that up to now, small Maliway businesses are affected by the escalation in crime zone. And the person continues, another issue, a storm warning is issued 48 hours before hitting land. A warning is 36 hours. According to the U.S. experts, Brett will be hitting St. Lucia at about 8 a.m. on Thursday. Should we have at least a watch at this point? Do you remember the Christmas trough? And let me see if I have another message. All All right, somebody says, Tim, you are not reading my message, bro. What I do you? Watching you on YouTube. Okay, send me a message again, and I'll endeavor to go through it. So my apologies, but it's not deliberate. We get so many messages on so many platforms. Can be a little distracting sometimes. So my apologies to you. If you care to send me your message, okay, and I'll go through it. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Let us hear now from the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Virginia Albert Poleon, deputizing for the Prime Minister at the opening of official launch of the UNEX 2024. That's the unity exercise that's being undertaken by the RSS come April of next year in St. Lucia. And she spoke on the crime problem on the island and made reference to that overused phrase, hackneyed phrase, one homicide is one too many. Over to the Home Affairs Minister.
St. Lucia is a small country of about 180,000 people, and the Prime Minister and the government of St. Lucia believe that one homicide is too many for us. Tourism is the mainstay of our economy, and as such, a scourge of crime can threaten the livelihoods of our people. We want St. Lucia to be a country where residents can live, work, and raise their families in dignity and without fear, and visitors can enjoy their vacation in a friendly and peaceful environment. St. Lucia is a small country of about 180,000 people, and the Prime Minister and the government of St. Lucia believe that one homicide is too many for us. Tourism is the mainstay of our economy, and as such, a scourge of crime can threaten the livelihoods of our people. We want St. Lucia to be a country where residents can live, work, and raise their families in dignity and without fear, and visitors can enjoy their vacation in a friendly and peaceful environment.
The island's Home Affairs Minister speaking yesterday during the official launch of UNEX 2024. And as you heard her, one homicide is one too many. Now, why did it have to take so many homicides in VA4 recently for the authorities to act quickly and decisively? That's the question I'm putting to the authorities. If you say one homicide is one too many, it took close to 15 homicides for the authorities to see the necessity to take some serious action and to bring in outside forces, the RSS, and to utilize local resources, financial and otherwise, to arrest that particular problem in VA4 a few months ago. So I don't think that, as much as they're saying that, I don't think that the government of St. Lucia is taking the occurrence of homicides in St. Lucia as seriously as they would like us to believe, because it took that calamity in the south of the island for them to act decisively. But this is an overused phrase. I wish I would not hear it again. It just appears that something that's just being said just to give the impression that the authorities are taking the occurrence of homicides seriously in St. Lucia. The evidence of it is that not even ordinary St. Lucians are too perturbed, taken aback by homicides on the island when they occur ever so often. All right, let me see if I have any of your WhatsApp messages to go through. Once again, we are waiting your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979, along with your WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026. Somebody says, instead of suppressing crime reporting, it is more advisable to focus on improving safety measures, enhancing law enforcement capabilities, and implementing effective crime prevention strategies. Open communication, transparency, and providing accurate information to both tourists and locals are crucial for creating a genuinely safe environment. Because when you keep the information away from the public, you're creating a false sense of security. And people also believe, those in authority very often believe, that the media takes great pleasure in reporting on serious crimes or homicides when they occur. We are citizens of this country. We live in this country. We work in this country. We can be targets. Many of us have been impacted. Many media workers can tell you that they have suffered losses as a result of the occurrence of serious crimes in our country. So we take no pleasure reporting on it. But we just reserve the right to report accurately. Nothing about sensation, not about reporting bad news, because I'm not into reporting bad news. I'm into reporting the news in our country. And so if you are inundated with good news, inundated with economic growth, and this is overwhelming and it's having a positive impact on the people, and the unemployment situation is brought under some level of control. Not that just saying that unemployment is being reduced, and when you mingle with your friends and your relatives and you travel around the country, you still hear people bawling and crying and complaining about the crime and the unemployment problem in our country. But if visibly, if you are impacted positively, we have no choice but to report on it. We do report positive news in the country. But likewise, we have to report on what is happening when it involves a homicide, when people's lives are lost. And I have not reached a point where I've gotten used to homicides. Unlike the feeling that I get, the attitude that is being displayed by many people in our society, every time I hear of a homicide occurring in any part of St. Lucia, I am shocked. I am taken aback. It causes me a lot of concern, a lot of grief, because I always ask myself, could I be next? Could I have a relative who can suffer a similar fate? A friend? So this is getting very close to home, and all of us should be concerned about it. And those who have been elected to tackle this, they should do a whole lot more, and we should be seeing the evidence of their hard work instead of one homicide is one too many. Unacceptable. All right, I have a WhatsApp message. Somebody says, Tim, back to the passport issue and the briefcase. If we open our minds as a government agency, example immigration, would realize that the said briefcase could be registered as a licensed and registered agent authorized to process requests for the St. Lucia passport, and government themselves can earn fees from the source and make it legit service provider. Let's cut bureaucracy and think outside the box. Another issue, the 2.5% levy of VAT increase is a VAT tax hidden as this health and security levy. This, as I understand it, will be levied on everything except food and building materials, and this means that it is in fact an inflationary tax. Importers of goods and providers of services will have to pay more upon importation of goods at the instance of importation and pay this tax on the CIF value of goods. Insurance, licensing, retail non-food goods will be out of the reach of ordinary St. Lucians. St. Lucians, brace for more suffering. This is, if that's the case, real bad news for us in this country. And I can recall me playing the clip of the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Antoine, during an interview with DBS's Lisa Joseph, saying that the 12.5% VAT was just too low and the authorities would have to do something about it. Maybe they are just on the verge of doing it, only that it is being couched as a levy and not as a value-added tax. Membet, Mempuel. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone says, well, we have a YouTube comment. So someone saying, Tim, we need to see who PW and Mr. B is or are. Please post their picture when they call. Someone says, Virginia can want all she wants. However, she needs to realize that it is her job and PJP's job to find a solution to curb the highest crime rates ever in St. Lucia. As the MP, she should not just want no crime, but make it happen. I am sick and tired of this government crap. Another comment, cliche after cliche, UE just hands over PhDs, I swear. Let's see, what else do we have in the chat room? Timothy Antoine must be the one advising PJP. Mitt will only get a job in the Caribbean. And someone is saying $7 for a small box of mac and cheese. That is about it in the chat room.
All right, thank you so much. Let me see if I have a WhatsApp message. Tim, what happened to the NIC staff and their negotiations? The chairman of the board promised things will be settled in 1 week. In April, we are in June, and nothing up to now. Please help NIC staff someone. Over to you, Siobhan Alfred, on this issue. Please, we can report what is happening with regard to the negotiations involving the NIC staff.
Someone says in the chat room, the country is on a progressive path of recovery. PJP, Irie Gasson. That's it.
All right. Another comment. Tim, with the impending weather on Thursday, what is the ministry saying with regards to the Cape results? Okay. I think CPEA might be the CPEA results. The CPEA results, but the person had something else. All right. Let's see if we have another WhatsApp message to go through. Somebody? Okay, that can't be correct. But conflicts being 4572, no. Kellogg's conflicts, no. I just got
Depends on the box, though. Depends on the box.
The size of the box, so yeah. Can be
that's
4572.
Yeah, and that's 2 packets.
Okay.
It's a bit pricey.
That's unbelievable. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin, you're on the air. And I do go to the supermarket. Unless somebody call me and accuse me of not going to this. I do go to the supermarket, but conflict's not my favorite item. Yes, good afternoon, you're on the air. Okay, what was that call? We have sufficient time to take at least one final call. So as soon as you're ready, we'll be taking that call. But in the meantime, let's turn my attention to our NewsSpin news of the day. NewsSpin news of the day. Drinkflation comes for the British pint. Brewers sell weaker beer, but don't cut prices. NewsSpin news of the day. Drinkflation comes for the British pint. Brewers sell weaker beer, but don't cut prices. There is also, Kimani, we talk about drinkflation. There is inflation, and there is greedflation. You never come across this one?
No, I have
not. For you, there is greedflation. When you put your prices at exorbitant, at an exorbitant rate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when the markup is a lot higher than you should. When you're being very unreasonable.
The $7 mac and cheese.
Yeah, that's called greedflation. All right, I think if we have any more comments in the chat room as well, take them.
I have a few more.
Yes.
Someone is asking, have they desilted the river since the storm is coming? Another comment, there is a serious food shortage, famine coming, and all those who's not prepared, meaning those who are not growing or planting their own food, will suffer. Someone says... that's it in the chat room. That's all we have.
Somebody says the government is misleading the public with the Golden 80 package. There is very little new benefit for those seniors. At present, the hearing test and eye screening at the Cuban clinic are free of charge. They don't pay at the health centers to see the doctor. Most of the medications are already free of charge due to their conditions such as diabetes, and a lot of them have social welfare cards that exempt them to pay. It is very interesting that the package is for primary health care at the health centers, where most services are free and not secondary as well, where they would really require assistance with services such as various lab works. And the person continues, the government is I've read this one.
Someone says, important update, the release of the CPEA is now tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at SMC. Another comment, I hope in addition to going to the supermarket, you also eat guava, local bread and conkles. That's it, Tim.
The world has gotten so small, it's unbelievable. Today I happened to stop and get some Caribbean food at an overseas restaurant. The server asked me where I was from after hearing my accent. Of course, St. Lucia. The server, Kenyan, started talking a little world politics by mentioning how much he loves hearing the Barbados rep speak at the United Nations. It sort of pissed me off knowing we had St. Lucians once upon a time representing us like this. Tim, where did they go? All right, that'll do it as far as our broadcast is concerned. Okay, so I got that same information. The release of the CPA is now tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at St. Mary's College. All right, so thank you so much for sharing that information with us. And thank you as well for watching the broadcast on YouTube as well as on our NewsSpin Facebook page and listening on Power 97.9 FM. Thank you to our sponsors for putting your trust and your faith in us, because you know that you'll be getting your returns. And I'm sure that Talia, our sales executive, is smiling because she likes to hear me say those things, when I curry up to the sponsors, and when I apologize to the audience, she likes that. So good afternoon to you, Talia, our sales manager here at Power 97.9 FM. And to you in the chat room, thank you so much for your comments. God willing, we'll be back same time tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin. Goodbye.